Ah. Oh. Oh. Well, there we go. It's my first crash of the trip. I've ended up taking an extra day of rest here because there was so much rain over the weekend that I had to give it an extra day for the roads to dry out. And it was good to have the extra day of rest because now my legs healed up a little bit more. It's not too bad now, just a little bit sore after the crash. Now I'm going to make my way through a few towns and hopefully end up on the beach where I'll be camping tonight. Even after an extra day of sun, this mud is crazy. Well, it's not the most exciting, but I think I'm gonna have to stick to the highway today. That mud is just ridiculous. I can't do a full day of that. But it's not the end of the world. It means I'll get to my camp spot earlier and I can enjoy an afternoon on the beach in the sun. It's gonna work out pretty well, actually. I've made it to the next town and just stopped for some fish tacos. I've made it now to the beach. The ocean is somewhere to my right above these little sand dunes. And I'm just gonna ride down 2 or 3 miles and find somewhere to camp. The sand is really good to ride on because the rain has packed it down a bit and made it nice and smooth. It's brilliant. I found myself a nice little spot on the beach. I can see the volcanoes off in the distance. I can hear the sounds of the waves crashing against the shore. And there's even some guys out here who have ridden their bikes up the beach. And by the looks of it, they're collecting oysters or something along those lines. It has gotten a little cloudy, which is a bit of a shame, but maybe I'll be lucky enough to see a nice sunset tonight. I've made my way into town and got myself a delicious breakfast. And then I headed over to the store to pick up 4 days of food and about 7 litres of water because I'm heading deep into the backcountry. There's not going to be any water for about 60 miles and there's going to be no food for about 120. And I'm just carrying a little bit extra because I've heard the road is still very muddy through this section. So it's possible I'm going to be going a lot slower than I expect. This section's really exciting though because it has the huge 10-metre tall cardon cacti. And hopefully I can find a few great wild camping spots along the way. It should be a really good time. The rain out here really is not fun. I've ended up stopping pretty early for the day because I've just not really been feeling up for it. And I've also come across this beautiful spot. This is definitely one of the benefits of carrying extra water and food because it gives you the freedom to be able to stop and capitalize on beautiful camp spots like this. Also, I can see some of those huge cacti off in the distance, so I can look forward to seeing some of them up close on the road tomorrow. I'm very glad I ended up stopping here for the night, not just for the insane views of all the surrounding mountains, but also for all the strange vegetation that's around. It just feels like such a different world, a different environment to what I've been in for months. I really am enjoying it. I'm feeling way better today, probably something to do with the fact that I slept for about 11 hours last night, and I'm really looking forward now to the day ahead of riding. It's going to be good fun and I cannot wait to see all the huge cacti. Wow, look at this one, that is massive. That is so cool. This is some rough stuff. The Baja Divide really is unrelenting. Wow. It feels like I've done a lot more hiking than biking today. It's been really rough and really challenging, but I've made a lot of progress, done tons of climbing, and I'm now at the highest point of this section. The views up here are absolutely insane, and now I've got about 1,500 feet to descend over the next 10 miles. That is just insanely beautiful. Worth all the hours of climbing, I'd say. I've always been obsessed with places that are so strange, so unrecognisable that they make you feel like you're on a different planet. And this is definitely one of those places. I think it was worth all the hours of pushing my bike up rough, rocky roads to get here. This is just fantastic. I'm about to join the highway for I think about 5 or 10 miles, and there's a couple of restaurants along it where I'm obviously going to get some food because I'm starving, and I'm going to stock up on water for the next couple of days. Well, I messed up a little bit. As soon as I got onto the highway, there was a restaurant right there on the corner, and I decided to carry on because I thought there was another one that also had a store. And then I've got here and there is a store, which is very good news, but there's no restaurant here, so I've just missed out on a nice home-cooked meal. Back to the fun stuff. I so nearly just cycled straight into a barbed wire fence. Luckily I saw it just in time, and literally look where I stopped. Couldn't have been much closer than that. That could have been very painful. Doesn't seem to be any way of opening this up, so guess I gotta go around and find another way. This looks good. Don't know what was going on with that other section, but this looks good. I'm not sure what to do here. The official route is this track here, which is fenced off. Now there is a road, but there's a sign that says private property. There's also no bike tracks here, so it doesn't look like other cyclists have come this way. Well, I can see the road I need to eventually get up to, off in the distance, but I don't see any way of getting there without going on private land, except going just completely off-road. Seems like my only option. I think maximum it'll be 1 or 2 miles. Shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. You've got to be really careful when you're walking off trail out here, because there's so many spiky things just waiting to puncture your tires or even just pierce your ankle. Well, I've made it to a road. It's not the road I'm meant to be on, but I might as well follow it and just see where it takes me. It seems to be heading in the same direction. Maybe not. Just gonna have to try the next way. Okay, let's see where this takes me. Hopefully it's a bit more fruitful. Well, this looks promising. Even if this doesn't take me back to the route, it's a pretty damn good place to spend the night. I've ended up behind this ranch that I came up to earlier, and I can't see the road I'm meant to be on anywhere. Well, that's really disappointing. Just ended up being a circle. I have no idea where the actual route is, so I think I'm gonna have to give up. I'm gonna head back towards the highway, find somewhere to camp, and then tomorrow it's about 38 miles just straight down the highway to the next town, and I'm gonna have to give this section a miss. That sucks, but at least I gave it a good go. At least I know I tried. I'd be lying if I didn't say that's not a disappointing way to end the day. Mostly just because it means I have to sit on the highway for 38 miles tomorrow, and it's going to be very boring. But when I look around at where I'm camped underneath this giant cacti with all this beauty around me, it's hard to complain too much, really. I've woken up this morning still feeling a little bit disappointed about yesterday, but there's not much I can do about it now, so I've got to look at the positives. And it's been a very long time since I've spent a full day on highway, so maybe it'll be nice to travel a bit faster than normal for a change. It also means I'm one day closer to a much needed shower and a freshly cooked meal, which I'm very much looking forward to. Got my tyres pumped up nice and hard for the tarmac. Let's smash out some miles. If you've been following my journey and you've never dabbled in bikepacking yourself, you may be wondering why I try so hard to avoid paved roads and highways. It's nothing to do with avoiding cars and trucks, although this is a nice little bonus. It's all about the adventure. As soon as you become accustomed to seeking the more difficult, challenging, but rewarding ways of getting from A to B, there's really no going back. Once bikepacking grips you, really nothing else will do. And luckily for me, I've just stopped at a roadside restaurant for some burritos and a coffee, and I've noticed that I can actually rejoin the Baja Divide in just a couple of miles. So I'm going to spend one more night out here before heading into town early in the morning tomorrow. Beautiful gravel road. We're back. I'm officially back on the Baja Divide now, and already this looks a lot more exciting. I've just spent my day in a little highway town called Catavina, where I've just been charging up my power banks and of course eating a ton of food. I've now stocked up with a few days of food and about 9 litres of water, because I am heading once again back into the backcountry. Just got to make my way back up the highway about 5 miles, and I'll be back to the section of the Baja Divide I was on earlier. One of the main reasons I've loved the Baja Divide so far is the slow pace of it all. Between incredibly rough and difficult roads and the abundance of wild camping opportunities, you can quite often finish a day with just 20 or 30 miles completed and be very happy with that. However, tomorrow, all of that goes out the window for 2 main reasons. The first being that from where I'm camped right now, there is no water for another 100 miles. And so I want to get myself as close to that next water source tomorrow as possible, just to be safe. The other reason is that there's a big rain coming in 2.5 days, and I need to get myself to a town and into a motel for when that happens. And the next town is 120 miles away. So my game plan for tomorrow is I'm going to be up bright and early and get as many miles done in the morning as possible. Let's do this. I'm only half an hour in and I'm making really good time, but I've just come across a very, very big problem. So one of the bolts that attaches my rear rack to my bike has snapped. It's not even just come out, it's actually snapped, so there's still a bit stuck in there, which I don't think I'll be able to get out. The only thing I can think to do is try and reattach it on this fixing further up, but I don't know how that's going to fit, and it looks like part of the rack has been bent as well. Really annoying. Well, I'm going to do my best to fix it. If not, I'm going to have to turn around and get myself back to the highway. Alright, I've bent the 2 metal pieces at the front and I've reattached the rack slightly further up, and it seems pretty solid. I think it's going to be alright. My bag's sitting quite far off the back now, which really isn't ideal, but as long as it stays on there, I'm okay. Well, that wasn't an ideal way to start the morning, but at least I've managed to fix it and hopefully I can make it to the next town alright. Now I've really got to get the pace up. Right, fellas. Excuse me, buddy. Oh, look at the babies. I've now made it to the Pacific Ocean. I'm going to stop here and have some lunch and sit in the shade and cool down because it's really hot right now. This is now the longest section of Pacific coastline of the whole Baja Divide, so it's going to be really beautiful and really fun riding along here. I would really love to stop here and spend the night because it's so beautiful, but I do have to keep carrying on and do some more miles. I'm at 53 miles now, so I probably only need to do another 15 or so today. The sun's gonna set very soon, so it won't be too long in the dark. And it's just unbelievably beautiful out here. The sun is pretty much set. Time to get the light on. I've done 58 miles. I'm gonna do a maximum of 1 more hour. Last night I stopped a little early because the road was very steep and rocky and I wasn't feeling too confident riding it in the dark. And I realised yesterday that I haven't slept under the stars at all yet since I've been on the Baja Divide, and figured last night would be as good a night as any, considering I was exhausted and wasn't really in the mood to set up camp. It's definitely something I'm going to do more in the future. It was really special to just look up at one of the most incredible night skies I've ever seen, and then wake up in the morning as the sun's rising and the sky turns all shades of purple and red. I did end up doing about 60 miles yesterday, which I'm very happy with, and it leaves me with a fairly gentle 40 miles to go until the well. I've got 2 or 3 litres of water, I'm up early, it should be very quick for me to pack down and get moving. I'm very confident I'm going to make it. Found another casualty to the Baja Divide. If my bike survives this, it's going to be a miracle. So the name of the ranch where you can supposedly pay a guy to use his well is El Cardon, which you can clearly see right here. However, there is nobody here and there is no sign that anyone even lives here. It's just completely abandoned, which is crazy because there's these huge whale bones here. I also can't see the well, but there is off in the distance one of these, which I'm not sure the name of, but I have a feeling that's where the well might be, so I'm gonna go check it out. That looks like a well to me. Oh yeah. Doesn't taste great, but it's water. I think this is where I'm going to stop and spend the night. I'm going to sleep under the stars again tonight, and then it's only going to take me a couple of hours to get into town tomorrow, which I'm very much looking forward to. I think it's been something like 8 days since I last had a shower. I'm genuinely losing count, and my body is just caked head to toe with a layer of dirt. All my clothes smell horrible and are turning white from the sweat. Not to mention the fact that my legs are exhausted. It's going to be a very much appreciated couple of days in a motel. The rest of the miles today were frankly horrible. It was a washboarded road with strong headwinds, which just doesn't make life fun at all. But I've now made it into the town and I'm at a motel where I'm going to have a day's rest. And it feels very much needed. It's been a very rough 9 days and I just feel a little bit battered and worn out, even though it has been amazing. I'm very much looking forward to a shower, and I've even made a little friend. Look at this guy. Yeah, hey buddy. Hello. Hello. And the ocean is literally about 20 meters away from me. So as soon as I've had a shower, I'm going to go get some fish tacos, which I'm sure are going to be very good. Oh, look at this guy. If this guy did not have a collar on him, he would literally be coming with me. He's so sweet. Just had a freezing cold shower. And now I have potentially a much more important job on my hands, and that is finding where has the best fish tacos around here. This looks promising.
I didn't see the person. Other bay. Not like that small, the other bay.
So good.
Big bay. The huge.
Those were some very good tacos, nice and fresh from the ocean over here. It's always an absolute mess every time I get a hotel room. Got my tent hanging up to dry here. Got all my clothes drying up there. Got Got all my electronics charging up as well. Still got to get those power banks charged up, and just generally a load of stuff everywhere. I've woken up to beautiful blue skies, and it seems the rain wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. So I'm going to get going and head to the next town. Just going to say goodbye to my furry friend, pack down and go get some breakfast, and then I'll be on my way. Just stopped for some delicious tacos for breakfast, and even the lady there was warning me that I probably shouldn't leave today because it's going to be a lot of mud. These mud roads are definitely a problem. You'll be cycling along and it will look like it's fine to ride on, and next thing you know, you're on the floor. It never really hurts because you go down quite slowly, but it's just a bit of a pain and you end up with mud all over you. This might have been a mistake. It's getting very messy now. Okay, that's officially the first and last time that I ride the day after rain in the desert. I just slipped and landed face first in a puddle. I'm now very wet and covered in mud. This really is not fun. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish this section because I'm already muddy and wet and covered in dirt. Gonna get myself to the next town. I'm gonna have a hotel room and a day off there because I feel like I need it. I made it to town and I got myself some burritos and a coffee to cheer myself up, and decided I was going to carry on because about 55 miles away through some beautiful canyons and over some mountains, there's another town right on the Sea of Cortez, which I'd much rather have a few days off in. Immediately after leaving town, I was reaffirmed that I'd made the right decision as I was just treated to this insane spectacle of nature. This is the weirdest thing ever. I'm being rained on while the sun's also hitting me, and above my head there's two rainbows with about 20 vultures and ospreys just flying around. It's so strange, but it's incredible. Just this insanely beautiful moment that was just happening around me. It was so special, and it feels like a sign that I've made the right decision to carry on instead of sitting in a hotel room right now. I really enjoyed that last hour of cycling. I had my music playing through my speaker as the sun was setting over this beautiful place. It's amazing how quickly a bad day can turn to a great one when you're bikepacking. Now I think tonight I'm going to sleep under the stars again. I'll see you in the morning. A bunch of cyclists passed me while I was setting up camp, and just after I got started they'd stopped by the side of the road, and it's one of these groups where they're cycling along and they got a truck supporting them, and so they stopped me and gave me some fruit and some water and all really friendly to me. It's a lovely way to start the day. Wow. We've now made it to Mission San Borja, and I had some lunch with the cyclists, and then they've carried on to the next town. And I've now just made my way over to the hot springs. Oh yes. This is gonna be such a nice treat. I haven't had a hot shower even in 11 days now. So this is gonna be very nice. Oh, oh, that is so nice. Someone's jealous. You wanna come in, bud? Oh, this is just heaven. Well, that was definitely a nice treat. I was in there for about 45 minutes in the end, but I reckon it's probably time to get going. Well, I feel way too relaxed to do any cycling now. Good morning, it's another beautiful day out here, and I've just realised there's another part of my rack that's broken. Don't know if that happened before the bolt broke or after or what, but yeah, this rack's falling apart. I need to replace it, or at least get it fixed for now. A long paved descent took me for the first time to the Sea of Cortez, arriving in a town called Baja de Los Angeles. There's not many worse feelings than getting to your hotel exhausted, checking in and then finding out you've got to go up some stairs. I guess it's kind of worth it for this view. I think this is a very good place to have a day off. And the view from it is just absolutely beautiful. I ended up taking an extra day of rest here to wait out some bad weather and connect with another bikepacker called Luis. Just got absolutely soaked. That's the most rain I've seen probably since Washington. While I've been riding at least. But luckily we're on this really nice soft sand, so it actually helps it a bit. It packs it down, makes it slightly nicer to ride on. This area looks so different to anywhere I've been in Baja before. It's really beautiful. Well, me and Luis, who I'm cycling with at the moment, have made it to this little fisherman's camp called San Rafael, where they're kindly letting us stay on their beach here. And it is really beautiful. Off in the distance, there's all these amazing mountains, and around us there's these kind of mini sand dunes. And behind me here is the Sea of Cortez, which is just one of the most beautiful seas I've ever seen. It's this deep shade of blue. It just looks absolutely unbelievable. The sun's just setting now, and hopefully in the morning I'll wake up early enough to see a beautiful sunrise just here. I was just sat out on the beach watching all the birds, and I spotted a pod of dolphins swimming by. What an amazing way to start the day. That's the first time I've ever seen dolphins. That was incredible. Although it's not an ideal morning for Luis. He had an intruder in camp last night. Alright, so what happened last night?
You know, I was sleeping peacefully and I wake up and I have to urinate and I go to put on my shoes and I only notice one is there and I was like, weird. It's okay, maybe I misplaced it. It's too sleepy to think. You know, do the thing, come back, go to sleep, and I wake up to the sound of, I don't know, something near my head. And I wake up and I see a coyote trying to take my shoe. And I was like, what the hell? And I said, no. And I throw a rock at it, drops my shoe and it runs away. And that is when I realized that another coyote, or maybe that same coyote, stole my other shoe. And I spent all morning looking for it.
Yeah.
I haven't found it.
It's not the best start to the morning for him. This is just one of the most unbelievable places I've ever been. I'm just stood here on top of a sand dune, and on one side of me is the Sea of Cortez with the beautiful deep blue waters and all kinds of different birds fishing for their breakfast. And on the other side of me are these incredible colourful mountains with just fields of cardon cacti in front of them. It is just so beautiful. After a slow morning, we left San Rafael and started what might be the most challenging section of the Baja Divide. The road turned from gravel to deep sand, which was barely rideable most of the time. It was a serious test of patience, and I was feeling very grateful to have company on what would have otherwise been a fairly miserable day of riding. Eventually, the sand turned to rock as we began a very steep climb that rewarded us with some stunning views at the top. We descended down the other side into Rancho Escondido, a beautiful spot in the mountains where we'd spend the night. We were greeted with a delicious home-cooked meal and some very cute dogs.
Yeah, so his eyes are amazing.
And after an incredible sunset, we got some rest, ready to leave early the next morning for another day battling the sand. We've just come across like dozens of vultures all just perched up on the top of these cacti. It's so strange. Well, after about 2.5 pretty rough days of sand, I have to say this is a very beautiful sight. Oh yeah, it's just what I needed right now. Just made it to the top of today's climb, and it's quite cool being able to look back and see how far we've actually come in just a couple of hours today. The views down there are just amazing with the Sea of Cortez off in the distance and all the mountains. Now there's barely any more uphill for the rest of the day, and we're going to make our way to another ranch now, hopefully for some lunch. This is more like it. Now made it down to the next ranch, and that descent was really enjoyable. It felt good to be moving quickly after so many days moving so slowly. And I think we're gonna get some chicken tacos and then we'll be on our way again. Right, Luis spotted a road that a lot of people seem to go down, so we decided to take a detour and check it out. And apparently there's some pretty cool cave paintings here, so I think we're going to stop here for the night and go check them out real quick. Well, here's the cave. We decided to hike up to the top and watch the sunset. Always let curiosity be your guide.
If you feel that way, so
Now we gotta somehow get down. Alright, we made it down safely. We're gonna stop here for the night. What a way to end the day. So we had some unexpected rain this morning, which wasn't ideal, although it might actually help us out quite a lot with this sand. Now officially in Baja, California, sir, which means that is one Mexican state completed, and what a state it was. Baja, California was really an incredible place, and that is going to take some topping. Although I think there's still plenty more Mexican states to come that are going to give it a good go. Always feels good making it into town after a few tough days out in the backcountry. And now we just need to go get some food and figure out where we're staying tonight. And tomorrow we're actually going to be going off the Baja Divide for the day. This section to the next town is 2 days on the official route of just very sandy and not very nice roads. And they don't really take you anywhere particularly interesting or exciting. They're kind of just there for the sake of staying off the highway. And instead I think we're just going to ride the highway. It's a very easy day ride, very flat, 45 miles, and it just avoids a lot of pain for no real benefit. And I'm also going to be very happy not to see some sand for quite a while after the section we've just done. Been on the highway 2 minutes and Luis just said, I think I'm done with bikepacking, this feels so good.
yeah, this is kind of bullshit. My legs are on fire. We're going straight into a headwind.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's not fun.
But you know, the winds give and the winds take, because earlier we had a gnarly tailwind and I was cruising.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So now we're being punished for it. But we're almost there.
It's the reality of the situation, and right now it sucks. But it's pretty.
We're only like 6 miles away though, we'll get there. We soon arrived in San Ignacio. This beautiful desert oasis marks the halfway point of the Baja Divide and was the perfect place for me to get some much needed rest after a crazy few weeks in Baja. Next up, I'll be riding to La Paz.